One of the most common misunderstandings in healing is believing it requires constant work and awareness, that you must actively monitor your progress, track your triggers, and consciously choose growth at every moment. But here's what the mind doesn't want you to know. Your deepest healing happens without your permission. Real growth occurs in the spaces between your thoughts, in the moments when you're not watching. While you're focused on surviving another day, your nervous system has been quietly rewiring itself. Your soul has been effortlessly shedding old patterns, like a snake naturally sheds its skin. What if the very signs you've been dismissing as setbacks are actually proof of your transformation? What if healing isn't something you do, but something that happens through you when you finally stop trying so hard to fix yourself? Before we continue, if you're ready to break free from the repeating patterns that hold you back, check out my free guide, 5 Inner Blocks That Keep You from Deep Spiritual Growth. The link is waiting for you in the top comment below. The first sign shows up when old wounds resurface but feel different. You know this experience. A familiar trigger appears, the same person who used to send you spiraling, the same situation that once made your chest tighten, but something has changed. Your body doesn't contract the same way. The old panic doesn't flood your system. Instead, there's a curious distance. You watch the trigger like you're observing weather from inside a warm house. You feel it, but you're not consumed by it. This confuses the mind. The mind wants to pathologize this. It whispers, "You're not healed if you still feel triggered." But the mind misses the point entirely. Healing isn't about becoming untouchable. It's about developing the capacity to be touched without breaking. When that old wound resurfaces and you notice your response has changed, you're witnessing your nervous system's quiet revolution. All those months when you thought nothing was happening, your body was learning new patterns. Your cells were remembering safety. Your spirit was integrating lessons you didn't even know you were receiving. The second sign is even more subtle. You lose interest in your own drama. The stories that once consumed your thoughts start to bore you. You catch yourself halfway down the rabbit hole and think, "Actually, I don't want to go down this road today." This isn't denial, this is evolution. Your consciousness has outgrown the old narratives. The victim story that once gave you identity now feels too small. The wound that once defined you now feels irrelevant to who you're becoming. You might find yourself forgetting to be upset about things that used to occupy hours of your mental space. Your ex's new relationship, that friend who betrayed you, the job you didn't get. These things still happened, but they no longer live rent-free in your awareness. The mind tries to convince you this is a problem. You should care more, it insists. You should be processing this. But your soul knows better. Your soul understands that some stories are meant to be outgrown, not endlessly analyzed. What if these aren't setbacks, but evidence of growth? What if the fact that you're no longer interested in rehashing old pain means you actually integrated its lessons? What if forgetting to be upset is your psyche's way of making space for what wants to emerge? Your nervous system has been rewiring itself in the background. While you were sleeping, eating, working, living your ordinary life, profound changes were taking place beneath the surface of your awareness. The neural pathways that once led straight to panic have been rerouted. The emotional patterns that once felt automatic now feel optional. The mind wants to track every moment of this process. It wants charts and progress reports, but real healing happens in the spaces the mind can't monitor. It happens when you're not looking, when you're not trying, when you finally stop managing your own transformation and let it unfold naturally. But here's where it gets deeper. These subtle shifts are just the beginning. The real signs of healing reveal themselves in how you move through the world when you think no one is watching. The third sign arrives like a whisper. You forget to be upset. Problems that once lived rent-free in your mind simply disappear from awareness. Not because you solved them or made peace with them, but because they lost their magnetic pull on your attention. You realize this when someone asks about that situation that used to consume you, the toxic coworker, the family drama, the financial stress. And for a moment you have to think about what they're referring to. Not because you've forgotten it happened, but because it no longer occupies the central stage of your consciousness. This forgetting isn't avoidance, it's liberation. Your soul has naturally sorted out what deserves your energy. The problems that once felt urgent now feel optional. The crises that once demanded your constant attention have been demoted to background noise. The mind finds this disturbing. It insists you should be vigilant, always aware of potential threats. But your soul knows that obsessing over problems often prevents their natural resolution. When you stop feeding a problem with your attention, it often dissolves on its own. The fourth sign shows up in moments of conflict. Your reactions surprise you. Someone tries to push your buttons, and instead of the familiar explosion, you find yourself responding from a calm you didn't know you had. It's not that you become passive or disconnected. You're simply no longer controlled by the old ways you used to react. You hear yourself speaking with a steadiness that feels foreign. You watch yourself walk away from arguments that would have consumed you for days. You notice your body staying relaxed when it used to tense with defensive energy. These moments catch you off guard because they happen without effort, without conscious choice. This is your nervous system operating from a new baseline. All those times you thought healing wasn't working, your body was quietly learning new responses. Your cells were remembering that safety is possible, even in conflict. Your spirit was integrating the truth that you don't need to defend your worth to anyone. The old you would have analyzed every word, replayed every exchange, planned the perfect comeback. But this version of you simply moves on. Not because you don't care, but because your energy is no longer available for battles that don't serve your growth. The fifth sign is the most liberating. You stop tracking your healing. The obsession with watching your progress fades. You no longer check in with your wounds to see how they're doing. You stop measuring your growth against some imaginary timeline. This happens naturally when healing becomes integrated rather than performed. When you were actively trying to heal, every emotion felt significant. Every trigger felt like data to analyze. Every reaction felt like evidence of your progress or lack thereof. But real healing moves you beyond the need for constant self-surveillance. You find yourself going days, then weeks, without thinking about your healing journey. Not because you stopped growing, but because growth has become so natural, you no longer notice it's happening. Like breathing, it continues without you having to think about it. The trap of spiritual perfectionism dissolves. You stop trying to optimize your emotional responses. You stop judging yourself for having bad days or difficult feelings. You realize that healing isn't about achieving some pristine state of consciousness. It's about returning to your natural capacity for resilience and flow. Your energy naturally flows toward what nourishes rather than what needs fixing. You find yourself drawn to activities, people, and experiences that feel alive rather than therapeutic. You stop choosing based on what you think will heal you and start choosing based on what genuinely calls to you. This shift is profound because it marks the end of identifying as someone who is broken and needs repair. You begin to see yourself as someone who is whole and choosing growth. The difference is subtle but very transformative. One keeps you focused on problems, the other opens you to possibilities. Real growth happens when you're not watching, when you're busy living your life, pursuing your interests, engaging with the world. Healing continues in the background. Your psyche processes experiences during sleep. Your body releases stored tension during moments of joy. Your spirit integrates lessons through simple presence. The final signs reveal the deepest truth about healing. It's not something you achieve or complete. It's something you remember. You remember that you were never actually broken, just temporarily disconnected from your wholeness. The sixth sign feels like coming home to yourself. You feel like yourself again, not the person you were trying to become through all your healing work, but who you were before the wound convinced you that you needed to be different. There is a recognition that happens in quiet moments. You catch yourself laughing freely, moving without self-consciousness, speaking without filtering every word through layers of healing concepts. You realize you stopped performing your growth and started simply being. This isn't regression, this is integration. All the work you've done, all the awareness you cultivated, all the patterns you shifted have become so natural they no longer require conscious effort. They've become a part of who you are rather than something you do. You remember qualities about yourself that got buried under the weight of trying to heal. Your natural playfulness, your intuitive wisdom, your capacity for spontaneous joy. These weren't things you needed to develop, they were things you needed to uncover. The seventh sign is the most profound. Healing becomes invisible. You stop identifying as someone who is healing because healing is no longer something separate from living. You return to the natural state when growth and life are the same process. You no longer introduce yourself through your wounds or your healing journey. You don't define relationship by how much processing they require. You stop seeing the world through the lens of what needs to be healed and start seeing it through the lens of what wants to be experienced. The most profound transformation is forgetting you were ever broken. Not because you've suppressed the memory, but because you realized the brokenness was an illusion. You were always whole, just temporarily convinced otherwise. What if you were never broken to begin with? What if all that pain, all that struggle, all that healing work was simply the process of remembering your inherent wholeness? What if the very idea that you needed to be fixed was the only thing that ever needed healing? Before we wrap up, if you found this helpful and want to go deeper, remember that free download I mentioned, 5 inner blocks that keep you from deep spiritual growth. The link is waiting for you in the top comment below. Healing is your natural state returning, not something you achieve through effort or analysis. It happens in the spaces between trying, in the moments when you forget to monitor your progress, in the quiet recognition that you were always whole. Notice what's already shifting without your effort, the old patterns that no longer interest you, the reactions that have softened, the peace that arrives uninvited. Trust the process that's been working through you all along, even when you couldn't see it happening.